what is that in your hand? This is the question that the Lord asked of Moses. Now, Moses had an earning for the people of Israel, for the children of Israel who were in slavery. And although he is in the land of Midian, he is singing this song, he is praising, he is asking the Lord, and he has this sorrowful heart. And he's asking the Lord, Lord, when are you going to take them out of the land of Egypt? And the Lord comes and presents himself to Moses. And he says, you go. I'm going to send you. And why does Moses have this doubt? You see, Moses has a doubt. We are in Exodus chapter 4, verse 1. Then Moses answered and said, but suppose they will not believe me or listen to my voice. Suppose they say, the Lord has not appeared to you. He has this doubt. And of course, it's a rightful doubt in some ways, because Moses tried to help the Israelites before, and the people were not supporting him. In fact, we see in Acts that people, he has this doubt that the elders of the children of Israel will not accept him. And he's saying, okay, Lord, yeah, you appear to me, fantastic, fine, good. But the people, they're not going to believe me. Now, should Moses have doubted? No. So, is he spiritually immature? Yes. But his spiritual immatureness is much more mature than our own spiritual immatureness. Do you understand? Are you getting me? We from outside are thinking, hey, Moses, you're so spiritually immature, but his spiritual immaturity is much less than our own spiritual immaturity. We can judge him easily. He's 80 years old now. He's thinking his life has come to an end. And this is too big of a task to take the children of Israel and to face the Pharaoh. He thinks this is, Lord, this is not one man's job. Of course, he wants the children of Israel to come out. But what does he have in mind? What does he have in mind? He has something else in mind. It's going to take an army. It's going to take something. He knows they will come out because the Lord had prophesied to whom? Abraham. Louder. To Abraham. To Abraham. Yes. How many years? How many years will they be in slavery? 400 years. And he knows the time is coming to an end now. But, me, 80-year-old shepherd with a rod in my hand, I'm going to go and face Pharaoh. Brothers and sisters, when the Lord, and one wife, sorry. Yeah. So, brothers and sisters and one wife. So, when the Lord gives you a task, which is much, much bigger, a bigger challenge than what you expect in life that you could do, the Lord has faith in you much more than you have faith in yourself and belief in yourself. So the Lord gives you a task, and the Lord and you say, what do we? We are looking at Moses, but what do we say? Answer the Lord when the Lord gives us a task. Are we saying, yes, Lord, I will go and do it? The Lord has given me a task to preach and to make videos. And how long ago the Lord gave me this task? Many, many, many years. And the Lord had to allow pain and suffering and difficulty and circumstances to come into my life so that I can come to this point and say, yes, Lord, you have given me this task, and now no matter what, I will fulfill that task, because I always had what? Excuses in my life. And you have to ponder upon your own lives. Those who are watching online and those who are here, we have to ponder upon our own lives. What is the great task that the Lord has given us, and what excuses are? We can look at the life of Moses and we can say he has spiritual immaturity, but what about our own spiritual immaturity? The Lord is asking, okay, the Lord says, this guy, the Lord is saying, what is that in your hand? What does Moses say? a rod. Now this rod, we are going to look at this rod from 3 perspectives. We are going to look at this rod from the perspective of Moses himself, what the rod meant for Moses. We are going to look at it from the perspective of God himself. And we are going to look at the perspective of the rod. And now this is a tricky question. Let me see if you can guess it. Which is the third personality we are going to look at the rod from? So there's Moses himself, the Lord, and
us.
No.
Aaron.
Who?
Aaron.
Aaron? No. No. Yes, very good. Arslan, very good. Very, very good. We are going to look at it from the perspective of the Pharaoh. Because the rod is going to represent Moses. The rod is going to represent the Lord. And the Lord is going to represent Pharaoh as well. Now, let's look at it from the perspective of Moses to start from. Now, what did this rod represent in the life of Moses? Yes?
He was a shepherd.
He was a shepherd.
He used this rod.
He used this rod to? He used this rod to do his task of taking care of the sheep. So what does it represent? It represents his work or his profession. It represents his profession, his career, his work. What else?
Livelihood.
His livelihood. What else does it represent?
His experience.
His experience.
His authority.
His authority. Very good. The rod represents his authority. Because with this rod, he is able to command the sheep. What else does it represent? His identity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the rod, when he is going, if nobody knows him, and he doesn't even have the sheep with him, but he always, you see, the Lord told him. We've already seen now in our previous video. The Lord told him to do what?
That we take off the shoes.
No, very good, very good. To take off your shoes. So he is a person who is not coming there with his shoes, but the rod is so much of his part of his identity that he did not leave it behind. Although he knows that he's standing at the sacred ground. He's talking to the Lord, but the rod is with him. Because this rod represents something for Moses, and it is with him all the time. And if he goes somewhere else where people don't know him and they see the rod, they are going to know he's a shepherd, who he is. So the rod represents his identity, his authority, his profession, his career, his work, his livelihood. In the symbol of the rod for Moses himself is ingrained in it who Moses is as a person. Now, what does the Lord say? And he said, cast it on the ground. Let go of it. What does the Lord say? Let go of. He's resisting the Lord. Who's resisting the Lord? Moses is resisting the Lord to fulfill the calling of the Lord on Moses' life because he is too attached to who he is. I'm a shepherd. I can't do this. My livelihood is the sheep. My profession, my career is the sheep. My identity is I'm not a leader. I mean, should I go and talk to the Pharaoh? In Exodus chapter 3, verse 11, it says, Moses said to God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? In his mind, do you think he thinks himself that he is He is worthy enough to go and talk to, because in his mind he's so much, this rod is representing his identity, in which it is saying that he, or he himself is saying to himself that what? I am what? So much more lower than the Pharaoh. The Lord is saying what? The Lord is saying, go and talk to the Pharaoh. But what is Moses saying? Lord, me, I mean, I can go and talk to the Pharaoh. So what is the Lord saying to Moses? Let go. Let go of your preconceived notions of who you are as a person, and let me give you a new identity, a new personality, a new mindset, a new calling, a new job, a new profession, a new livelihood, a new mission, a new calling to do something which is much more greater than your own life. Do not limit to your own thinking. Do not limit yourself to what you think of your own self. And many a times we are our own enemy. Because we say, what? I can't do this. This is too much. I can't. Me? Who am I? Same words. Who am I? How can I? No. But the Lord is saying, no. Let go of your preconceived notions of who you are as a person and embrace the new personality. Embrace the new calling that I am giving you. And of course, you will think that you are not equipped enough. You do not have enough knowledge. You do not have enough strength. I do not have you. You might say that, I can't do that. But the Lord said, we have seen this in our previous videos. When he said, who am I? The Lord said, he didn't tell him. He didn't tell him who he was. But the Lord said, I will surely be with you. This is what the Lord is saying to Moses. And this is what the Lord is saying to us as well. Now, the rod, it represents for Moses his career, his identity. But the rod also represents the Lord. Now, I'm going to not read all the scriptures, but I'm just going to give you one or two examples. In Revelation chapter 19, verse 15, it says, now out of the mouth goes a sharp sword, that with it he should strike the nations, and he himself will rule them with a rod of iron. He himself treads the winepress of the fierceness and the wrath of Almighty. So the Lord is going to do what? He's going to rule them with a rod of iron. Now in Isaiah chapter 11, it says, but with righteousness, verse 4, it says, Isaiah 11:4, it says, but with righteousness he shall judge the poor and decide with iniquity for the meek of the earth. So with equity for the meek of the earth. He shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with his breath his lips he shall slay the wicked. So the rod of the Lord represents good for the righteous, but bad for the unrighteous. It represents the judgment of God. When the Lord is going to come, he says he's going to rule this world with the rod of iron, which means that the wicked, they shall be slain with the rod. So the Lord is saying, the rod, it represents the Lord as well. And as an identity, Lord God is saying to Moses, put down your rod. And then he's going to tell him to pick it up again. But now when Moses picks up the rod, there is going to be something different with this rod. Now, till now, what this rod is? What is it?
His identity.
Yeah. So whose rod is it? His rod. But after he picks it up, I'm going to read a verse and the verse is going to answer our question. Exodus chapter 4 and verse 20, it says, then Moses took his wife and his sons, sat them on a donkey, and he returned to the land of Egypt. And Moses took the rod of God in his hand. When he puts down the rod, it's Moses' rod, but when he picks up the rod, it is now the rod of God. It has been empowered. And now he is taking with him the rod of God, and the Lord is telling us as well. Put down your identity, because the task I'm going to give you, the work I'm going to give you, it is going to be so much bigger than your own life and then your own thinking and then of what you think of yourself that you can achieve. You have to put it down. You have to lay down your identity and pick it up again and have a new identity in me, and now embrace the new identity that I give you, this rod, that you are this person. Lay down and take up another rod, which is called the rod of God. So this is what the Lord is telling us. We have some preconceived notions about who we are as a person, of our identity, and we spoke about this, the identity of Moses, in our previous videos. We talk about, he thinks of himself, he's a Midianite. He thinks of himself as a stranger in the land. He thinks of himself as a father. He thinks of himself as a husband. He thinks of himself as an Egyptian. He thinks of himself as a Hebrew. So he is in a sort of an identity crisis. But the Lord is telling him, now that I've given you a task, you have a completely new identity. And this new identity is like the identity of Jacob. When the Lord wrestled with him, he said, you will no longer be called Jacob, but Israel. The Lord changed his name. And now we are saying, the Lord is giving Moses a new identity. So brothers and sisters, what I want to share in this video is that when the Lord calls you for a task, he is going to change your identity and give you a new identity. So that's what I wanted to share with you in this video. In the next video, we are going to continue about the rod, but from the perspective of the Pharaoh. So it's going to be a very powerful video looking at what the rod represents as Pharaoh. God bless you.